Now, I drop my weight. What is that? Yes, but what dimension? And now I'm using my weight, in my body weight, vertically. Okay, that's how I'm using the momentum, vertically. So I'm, in this case, do that. Now, if I do this, in place, boom, where am I? Now I'm going into the width. Okay? With the three ways, you can obtain body momentum. Thank you. How's the tap? Good?
Lovely.
Yeah, like a kid, huh? Okay, so now, let's look forward. We've got the proper way to find the height, width, and depth of the neutral ball. Once you obtain the proper width, height, width, and depth of your neutral ball, then when you formulate these other stances, are you in proportion to yourself as a result of your finding the other dimensions? Yeah, you are. So once you find height, width, and depth of the neutral, and any other stance changes that you do from the neutral, you're already in proportion with yourself. Right, Chris? My English is not too good, you tell me. It's got a Hawaiian flair sometimes. Okay, now, how then, when we switch, okay, as we had talked about, what is that we're doing? We're switching the neutral ball, right? Okay. Front to back, back to front, and what's the other? Huh? His base jump. Okay. Now let's go into another one. Okay? Twist in place. Now switch. Switch in place. Now switch. Okay? Switch in place. Now can you come back to front? You can. Okay. So that's another way to switch. Actually, another two ways to switch. Going into a twist, coming with the rear foot forward, then back, or going into a twist and go with the back forward. Okay? So now you got the other way to switch. And then we'll explain tomorrow why. On the occasion. Okay? Left foot forward. All right. Now from that, we then have a twist stance. Correct? How do we do a twist stance? Anyone? Can you do a front crossover minus a step two? Is that a twist? If you do that now, there's this line again. You basically, in this case, come and go halfway on the line. Here, this way. Don't have your heel stay to the right of the line, but have your heel now go halfway between them. You understand me? All right, so there's that imaginary line. In this case, you don't have to use an imaginary line. You can use that. When you bring your right foot forward, okay, that's right. Now, I want that knee in there. That's good. Now, what stance is this? Right front twist stance. Look to the rear. What stance are you in? Left rear twist stance. So you might look that way and switch your defense that way. Okay? Now, feet together. Your right foot back, left neutral. And now I want you to go back, okay, where you're looking behind you, into a left rear twist stance. So, see, if you're looking toward me, even though you went back with your left foot, what would that have been? Still be a right front twist stance in reverse. You understand me? Okay. Back again. All right. Switch your attention to the back. Move. Then you go back again. And move. Good. That's good. All right. We got that. Okay, now let's go. Okay, now once you found this, all you have to do is go here and make sure that you're no further ahead than what the knee can come into. Okay? Understand? You don't go so far that you got space between your knee and the back of your heel. Back the other leg. Okay, switch. Now left front twist stance. Move. Back again. Move. twist stance, looking to the rear. Move. Yeah. Okay. Back. Move. Good. All right. Let's see. Am I confusing you or we with me? Am I confusing you? No?
We'll get it.
Okay. Let's look forward. A left in place twist stance. I move. Yeah, back again. Move. Back again. Switch. Right in place stance. Move. Yeah. So just remember, your toes on that line. All you gotta do is just, as you do this, turn in and have your foot halfway to the line. Okay? Here we go. All right, that's good. Positions. And now, how do we find the proper width and the proper depth of our cat stances? With it, it's 45 or 90 degrees. Yeah, if we had two lines that are a plus, we place one foot either 90 degrees to that or 45 degrees to that. We then get this right foot, follow the line, okay, and butt it the right heel against the left heel. See? It is my foot. And with this line, I can pivot it to 45. I get this foot, have this hand foot butt up against that. Now when I have heel, what dimension did I just achieve? Get with a big toe rest, mark an imaginary line, put your heel in. Okay, now you got width and depth, just momentarily drop down and automatically obtain your turn. Okay, that's how you get your stance. Any questions so far in terms of how to find and make the stance proportionate to you? No? You've got this, you've always known this, right?
Maybe not with a full explanation.
Okay, I think it's important that you folks go over these things, as simple as it is sometimes, like we were talking about short form 1 yesterday. What did I do with short form 1? I modified it and showed you how you can expound and expand on that simplest form that you think is simple. You can make it a lot more complex, sophisticated. Okay? All right, what other stances do we have? Other than forward fold, reverse fold, neutral fold, twist stance. Concave. What's a concave stance for?
Brace.
Yeah, acts as a brace. Okay? Concave stance is a brace. What else do we have? Diamond stance. Right? Why is a diamond stance used? So that when it's used, it can slip off of the target that we're hitting. Okay, what other stance do we have? Rear bow. That's a stance that most Wing Chun people take. And that's a stance that convinced Bruce Lee to get out of it when I dropped it. Because that's a bad stance. Okay. See, Chris has learned how not to get a bad habit. And I try to tell him to do a bad habit, he can't do it. So that's basically the Wing Chun stance like this. If you can do a body drop on the leg like this, I can drop my whole body on his knee and break his ribs and flip and take it down and strike an elbow. It's a bad stance. You're all open to have your leg broken. But if you have suicidal tendencies, you're welcome to do it. Okay, now, what other stances have we not discussed? The one-legged stance. Okay, the only time this concept of the lead leg being how you name the stance. In other words, it's your lead leg that makes it a right neutral bow, a right forward bow, or whatever. But when you lift that leg, where that leg is not touching the ground, then it's the leg that is touching the ground that you name that stance from. In this case, it's a one-legged. You see, if I did a one-legged, do this, I could do it with my knees back back here. See what I'm saying? But it's the left leg in that case, and if it's on your right leg, that's the only time it changes. It's the only exception. Okay, now down your watch, please. Okay, we can then proportionally find these stances and make it work and fit to our bodies. We can do the same with our blocks. Providing we think of an imaginary square, and this square is determined upon the width of your shoulder. So if I had a piece of string go from one end of his shoulder to the other, brought it to here, I would have a perfect square in terms of its relationship to the size and width of Gary's body. Likewise, you must imagine a perfect square in front of you, and that when we're doing the inward blocks, you come to the right rear corner, and now then visualize a line going from this right rear corner to the front left corner. If we were to draw a line from that corner, meaning the right rear corner, to the left forward corner, what then would we do with the box? We'd split it and have two triangles, wouldn't we? And that's what we had, two triangles. I cock right on. I block. Okay. In the course of the block, I want you to have your opponent visualize that imaginary corner. And that's exactly what I would like to see. This is an ideal situation. And it's a point of reference. Because it doesn't mean, in reality, you couldn't go above it, below it, short of it, beyond it, to the left of it, or to the right of it. You can go from any point. Okay? So that's a point of reference. During the course of this action, we want the elbows to be in line with the solar plexus. Why? Because we're trying to have you learn these moves whereby your forearm follows a path of action and not a line of action. Somehow, many of us have a tendency to visualize the fist following a specific line to its target. And as a result of that, the elbow goes up, an opening is there, and if you had the intention of blocking the punch, which you thought would go to your face, following a line, and all of a sudden it switches it to an uppercut, you have a problem. So when you go from this corner to this corner, you use your forearm to come across so that we strike on a path of action. Okay? Now, when we refer to this, it's very similar to an uppercase and lowercase in terms of the language we write. Correct? There's capital A's and small a's, capital B's and small b's. So in this case here, if Gary shot a left punch, and I use an uppercase of motion, and then he shot this punch, if I try to use an uppercase to a lowercase, I have a problem. I have a problem of time. But if I did this and used a lowercase instead of an uppercase, I'm better off. Correct? So I can go from here to here, be struck high with this, and then lower this, and go from here to here. Okay? All right, so then you have uppercase, lowercase, in case you did not use, you wish to use the term path. When a guy's a scholar and explaining to a guy that perhaps that to him, he understands. He doesn't know uppercase. He didn't finish school. He doesn't know what you're talking about. If you tell him, let's use the squeegee principle. Now, whether it's a squeegee principle, uppercase, lowercase, or path of action as opposed to a line of action, they're the same thing, except that one gets the individual who's more adverse in that situation to understand it fast. Okay? All right, now, let's do the downward walks again. I cock, block. Cock, block. Cock, block. Okay, now, you're instructors now. You're teaching the child how to cock his arm and then how to block. His father sees this. His father was a former boxer. Well, immediately his question is going to be, hey, how come you're teaching my son to cock his arm before he blocks? I could put a left jab in there before he had a chance to block. What would your answer be?
Basic movements.
Well, first of all, my answer would be, you're right, sir. You're absolutely right. Now, can he contest that? When you agree with the guy, can he contest that? He can't. Then, what's his next question if you agree with him? That's right, then why do you do it? Well, normally what I do is I say, let's go back and think back to the time when you learned to speak the language you speak. Did you not learn it through the use of syllables? Yes. What did they call it? Phonetics. How did we learn to say rat, cat, and bat? Rat, cat, bat. So you see, I am now teaching your son the cat, rat, bat, of motion. But tell me, sir, as we each other get amy, do we continue to eat each other phonetically? No, we don't. We go to the motion itself. And so in time, the benefits he gets and derives, and the force and power that he then experiences from here, you want to experience it Texas style, where you shoot from the hip. You see what I'm saying? And they still get the same answer. So these are the things that I think you should know and how to counter people who come up with these oppositions. Because if you can explain it to them or make them come up with the answer of an experience they're already familiar with, what does it do? You know, it reinforces your answer. Okay? All right, so now, here we are. Cock the hand, block. Cock, block. Cock, block. Good. So now we have this in terms of proportional dimension. Okay? Like I said, it doesn't mean that you can't go further, shorter, upper, lower. But right now, we can. Now, if we can imagine this square here, the only thing that I would like you to do is if you were to drop back and still block, I don't want you to see this square here shifting where you block here. You understand what I'm saying? When you drop back from that square, think of a hinge being on this right corner. So that even though I move back, that square is still here and I still block for that end. You understand what I'm saying? Too many people, they see a square and boom, all of a sudden they see the square switch in and blocking here, but the guy's in. Okay? Some people don't have imagination. So now, the only other thing that I say is that when you're going to visualize the striking to this corner of the square, I have to step back. Think in terms of this having a hinge. Go back, even when you move back, the square is still here and the corner is still there. Okay? All right, now your horse. All right, imagine the square here. Now hold it, relax, put your arms out. Okay, let's now make a line this way. And half this square in this manner. We now have what? Two rectangles. Is it rectangles or rectangles? You from New York, bro? Alright, okay, either that or because you're a racketeer, you think it's got to be okay. So we have two rectangles, correct? Usage of our vertical outlets, I want you to come up from this line and come straight across to this line. But what else are we doing, as you'll notice? We're confining the moves within the square. Now, how many of you have seen systems where they block, go back, with their arm this way? Have you seen it where the hand is out here, the elbow is in? That's how they block. Okay. See, they block like this, I'll go right up. Snap his up on his shoulder. And hopefully use his arm to hit himself. You have to be careful. Now, how many of you are familiar with the outer rim theory? How many remember the outer rim theory? Okay. The outer rim theory is where you visualize a circle in the shape of an A, where it's above the eyebrows, comes here, and your goes below the groin. Okay? And if you think about it, what's it doing right now? It's keep it within the block. So that no matter what you do, whether you're doing it inward or you're doing it outward, okay, if you keep in the block or keep within the circle of this square, the circle that imaginary circle that I'm showing you now, you're confining your moves within it. Okay? So the outer rim theory is to keep all moves within the rim, not outside it. Okay? Now, let me tell you what happened once. I had a guy in the early 60s challenge me. He said he had a defense that I could not penetrate. And he had learned from some Samoan princes from Samoa. First of all, those Polynesians down there don't know their hands like this. So he told me that was his defense. Anything wrong? And I corrected him. I said, I think you got that wrong. And I did this. I said, the cross that will mark your grave will look like that. But then we got mad. And we're talking about the outer rim theory, right? So I knew that I could suck at this guy. So immediately I threw my hand way out here. What do you think you do? Threw my hand out here. I threw my hand in here. What do you do? Okay. Took me right into his own eye and see for 2 weeks. And I thanked him for the help he had rendered in defeating himself. Okay, so don't get caught up in going beyond this rim. Because if you can confine your movements within that, and that's the same thing, the square is keeping you within the confines of an imaginary circle. Okay? All right. Now, down your horse. All right, outer block. All right, switch. Switch. Now something takes place here. That's really touching on the subject that I had mentioned yesterday. And that is, every move, concept, principle, or theory, or definition is an opposite and a reverse. As we then shift from one outlet, in this case a vertical outlet, to the other, what is transpiring when we switch to the opposite? Yeah, a reverse is transpiring. In other words, watch my left hand. That's an outlet. Before I go to the right outlet, this becomes an inward. Before I go to the outlet. And this becomes an inward before I go to the outlet. So reverse motion then becomes an integral part of our action. And with that in mind, we should learn how to captivate it and use it in our behalf. Okay? So this is what and how the double factor concept stems from. Okay? Graham gets down in his horse. This gets down in the horse. He uses an outlet. Now, before he goes to the opposite outlet, he uses an inward. Before the left outlet takes place. He uses an inward for the left. Okay, so that reverse motion takes place before opposite motion does. And as we pointed out yesterday, the statement every move, that's a principle theory of definition, as an opposite and reverse. What does this just spell right now? What did Graham do today? What was he doing? Reverse and opposite how? On the inside of my arm. What's the opposite inside? Exactly. So now she started the outward on the outside. Do you know how I use an inward outward? Inward outward on the outside of my arm? Yeah, but it's made even simpler now, isn't it? You see what I'm saying? You see it. So eventually that's how some of these terms come up. Opposite has a reverse takes place before that. That reverse could be an interlude before the opposite takes place. Okay? Now, does gravity work one day and not another? Because a guy goes off a cliff on a hang glider, does it mean gravity is not working at the time? No, he's come up with another principle that defies gravity, although gravity still exists. And he then brings in what? The principles of aerodynamics. And that's how he counters gravity. Right? Okay? Now, if you got a picture of how to use that square so that you, when teaching your students, can teach them how to proportionally do their moves. You understand me? Okay, now, let's go to an extended outline. Only in this case, we don't only think of a square, but we think of the outline of a total box. From this, make a box. You understand me? So we got the outline of a complete box. So that's at the waist. Okay? Yeah, I wish I was Walt Disney with a special pen that could draw and relay. In this case, if we come off to this left bottom corner and draw a line kitty corner to this right upper corner, this is how basically you can use your extended out. Going from the bottom left corner to the top right corner as you stretch. Again, does the elbow anchor? Do we still come up in a path of motion and action? Yes. Okay? That's how you can get you guys to visualize. This time we're bringing a total box as opposed to square. Okay? All right. Now, with that in mind, now let's get the hips. Okay? To be the measurement to the bottom square that I'm going to have you visualize. Okay? I want you to visualize the square. Okay? And the square is no bigger than the hips. Okay? Now, from this, okay, we have inside downwards. We now do the same thing we did up here. We have two rectangles of drawing a new line. This is how you do the inside downwards, palm in. You follow this square, half it, and follow this halfway line. Okay? Right, can you visualize that? Half it. We start with the right arm. Right, 1, 2. Now where did you stop? Yeah, because when you're blocking, do you need to go beyond this when you're dropping back? Do you? No, you don't have to do it here. I mean, effectively, when you come back, but it's more than that, because now what you've done to the framework is half. Okay, but remember what I said about the square? It has a hinge, but it still remains. All right, positions. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you have a mental picture of what you're doing, you do it much more readily, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, relax. Okay? 10. Our inward block, palm up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you go beyond that, what happens with the muscles? Puts a strain, right? You're not. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, stay where you're at. Feet together. Okay? Imagine the line now. Drop back with your left foot. Move. Okay, see? Even though you're midway of this, does it still clear? Yeah, it does. You see what I mean? Some people want to go all the way out here and put a strain in them. So just stay in the midpoint, and you'll still deviate the course of the opponent's action. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, feet together. Down your horse. Okay. Now, let's go back to the upper square. Square. Midway point. Line, midway point to corner, midway point to corner. Now, what do we have? How many? 3 triangles. Okay, we have 3 triangles. Okay? Now, can you imagine what I just said? Here's a square. We made a point. Draw a line from this point to this point, and this point to this point. Can you imagine that? We now have a triangle. Okay? And when we do this, what do we got? Parallel. When we do this, see, what do we got? That's parallel. Too many people do this. Consider this. Yeah, it's like the mosquitoes that you find in Hawaii. Those mosquitoes, you see a horse flying there, don't be worried. It's one of the mosquitoes taking away its prey. Down the horse. All right, now, so we're going to do upward parallels. And you can now imagine this particular triangle. And all you do is just casually come up, follow that line. Okay? Switch, switch, switch. Okay, those are outward parallels. Now, come in with the inward. Follow the same line here, only with the right hand. Move. when you come up, you're already meeting it and just make it, okay? Not make it a 1, 2, just make it 1. 1 you block, then you cut it. Okay? Got it? Okay, just follow that line. Okay? Go from here to this corner. Here to this corner. Okay? Got that? And that's how you visualize this. Okay? Now get that, let's go back to this. Okay? Square this at the level of our hips. Do the same thing. Midpoint. Draw 2 lines to the corner. What do we got? 3 triangles. Okay? Now we can do this. Follow the triangle. Or we can do what? Okay? Yeah, just follow the triangle. Okay, now does this mental picture give you a little bit of view of how to employ some of these? Huh? Now it's in my book, but a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. Okay?
So,
Yes.
well, does that mean to say that the downward block is also following the triangle principle as well? A straight downward block?
In terms of what?
Well, if you've got your central pinpoint as the point of reference and you've got triangles around it, the downward block doesn't come as a...
You can, yeah, see, you can do is then downward block starts from this midway corner of the box to this line. I mean, or you can come across this, follow this line, depends whether you want to meet it. Okay? Right. Now, I hope that these mental pictures of these geometric symbols and mathematical symbols in teaching you or your students how to visualize things will really help. It really helps if you get them to see this, okay? Now, I'm going to answer your question that's very important. How many corners are there in a square? No speaking? How many? How many corners are there of a square? You're not listening. How many corners are there in a square? How many corners are there of a square? 8. Inside and out. Okay? 8. If that be the case, how many corners are there in a triangle?
There's none.
3 corners in a triangle. How many corners are there of a triangle? 6. Okay, now this is important that we visualize this, but then we can get more technical. Okay? Where am I leading to? That's the question. Why am I bringing this up? Well, let me show you. Now, if I was to grab an arm and come up like an uppercut, like this, rather than this, this arm falling in a triangle. This is like a triangle. Okay, in this case, what corner am I using? Inside the corner. Okay. If I had Gary, is this not a triangle? Now what am I striking? Outside. But now we can become more specific. Because there's a left outside, a right outside, a top outside, a bottom outside, and a front outside. You can go this way, flip up with this, or fix them inside. Okay, now we get more specific. Triangles are very important. Okay, in its usage. But then we also use motion in terms of a triangle, but with one exception. That is all about triangles at rounded corners. Okay, now I'll clear it up in a moment. Maybe you're familiar with the Q rack. Anybody? Familiar with the Q rack? What happens in the Q rack? Is there a triangle? What else is happening? Yeah, each corner is rounded. Okay, now, this is where we're going to start talking about some things. Okay, feet together. Okay. Now, I want us to do circling the horizon. But we step off, come out to here, round off the corner, and actually form part of a, what is it? A triangle. When we go here, we're coming in, rounding the corners to go as part of a triangle, isn't it? Okay, but what did we do? We rounded off the corner. And that's the statement. In Kenpo, our ultimate goal is to elongate circles and round off corners. Okay, but let's visualize this and see how often a triangle is a part of your action, but never part of it to be so. Okay? This footwork. Move. Back again. We do not say that your foot moves in a triangular pattern with it. And the only way you continued your motion was to round off the corners, because if you went strict linear, you'd have to stop one action to stop the other. We do not wish to stop our action, but to continue its flow. In order to continue its flow, we must round off these corners so these motions continue. All right, move. Back again. Move. Back again. Now, could you tell me what the hand movements are in relation to the foot? All right, move. Is the back knuckle struck while you're in a cat, or struck while you step out of it? Okay, what's the next one? Where's the body momentum for that? This technique is this one. Step in with the elbow. It's from here and then you step in with the elbow. Okay? All right, move. One. I want you to take advantage, because when you're here, you're still coming forward with this, and then you're continuing it and going with that, okay? All right, move. 1, 2. Back again. 1, 2. Back again. 1, 2. Okay, fine. Now, as your foot follows a triangular pattern, so by the corner was rounded, watch what the right hand is doing, okay? We did that this way. My right hand came, covered the joint, rounded off the corner, and I went off on a diagonal now, whereby it's still a triangle, where part of my triangle is following a different line. Path, right? I'm going in a different direction, but it's still a rounded triangle. You understand me? Okay, can you visualize that? So now, is your foot only going in the pattern of a triangle? No. So is the movements of your arm. Think about it. Right? Position, move. Now, do you see that or do you not see that? You move. Good. Now, what's the next one?
Something like
Change stance.
Now, when you come down with this and flip it in, do you not come down and make a curly Q and go in? And is that not also a triangle with a curly Q in it? Isn't it? And eventually come in and keep you checking. Okay? So there's a lot of moves that we're doing that are really triangles, because what are we trying to do? Yeah, we're not trying to get too wide. See, not everything we do is circular. Okay, now, what is a round hustle? What is a round hustle? A round hustle is like this. So that if we continue to act in the apex of our circle, would be here, right? But now, supposing this was a lead tubing that formed this partial circle here. And I was able now to get this lead tubing and bend it and have it now not where it's a circle, but it's a straight line. Then curves into the continuation of the circle. Now that's what you're doing. You're now elongating a circle. And then eventually, this is still a roundhouse. See, I'm coming out here. I have now elongated my circle then went on a slight curve that I had, and then picked up half of the same action. Now, did you say it was faster? Did you say that it was because of the fact that it had greater speed, it increased the power of the action? You bet it does. More than you realize. Because what am I doing? Even though I'm turning, what am I doing? I'm twisting through my target, not to my target. Now, if you can remember what I'm telling you, you want to one, your power will increase about twice or threefold. It will, it really will. Okay? And we'll show you later on. Okay? So here's the doubt to see is the BBC, but the feel is the belief. Alright, we get this pretty good now in terms of what we're doing. Okay? Now, let's go into the upper blocks. Dynamos. Okay? Upper blocks is done now. 1, 2, 3. Okay, what do we start it off as? An uppercut. 1. Relax. Let's go back to the vertical outer blocks, okay? Alright? Starting with the right outer block. Alright, move. Left. What did we say about reverse motion? What did we say about it? This should be used as an interlude prior to the opposite taking place, correct? And you believe that. It's a principle that works, correct? It's a double factor. Yeah. Then why are you guys doing this? Should you not snake back down, cover your face in an interim before you go to the opposite? Should not that principle still apply whereby reverse motion is still an integral part of your action where you're protecting yourself? You're done right. As they say in America, you bet you did it. Okay? All right, positions. Once again, up. Okay, now you snaked up. You snake down before you go to the opposite side.